Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about a great new release that just came in the mail a couple days ago. And this is Repeat Performance, Flicker Alley release that was a restoration done under the auspices of Film Noir Foundation, UCL Film Archives. It's a terrific release. It was made in 1947. And it stars, if I can get glare out of here, Louis Hayward, Joan Leslie, Tom Conway, Richard Basehart, a very young Richard Basehart in his film debut. And again, there was a delay for this film. This is a movie that sort of just fell off the map for decades. It wasn't shown on television. Eddie Muller, who is the head of Film Noir Foundation, he found a 35 millimeter print about 10 years ago and was going to show it at one of his film noir festivals with Joan Leslie in attendance, but it proved the 35 millimeter proved to be unwatchable. The print was too deteriorated, so they actually were able to find a friend of Eddie Muller's had a 16 millimeter print. The audience loved the film. It got a great reception, and now it's been delayed as far as coming out on digital. I had to wait. I ordered it. They changed the release date, I think, about 3 weeks after the original one, and but it's worth the wait. And part of the worth of the wait was Flicker Alley sent me a really nice little calendar with lots of great poster art, and they also from every month and in green are all the birthdays of people who directors or stars of the films that they have released. So I was really happy to get that, you know, it's great packaging all around. It's a superb restoration. If I have untutored eyes, as I often say, so you can't go by me when it comes to picture quality. But I would say that if you are a picture quality, devotee in search of absolute perfection, Repeat Performance might be worth your examination. It looked absolutely great to me, and amongst the extras, we get a really good intro from Eddie Muller himself. Farron Smith, Naomi, has a interview in which she discusses Joan Leslie's career. Very interesting actress. There's a segment interviewing Alan K. Rode on Eagle Lion Productions. Repeat Performance was the first film of Eagle Lion. It sounds like it would be a B-movie studio because it's sort of PC, I forget, it was a PCR and a couple other B-movies kind of conglomeration, but this is an A movie. And so he goes into the production history of Eagle Lion, which is very interesting, and even though Repeat Performance was like $1 million production, which was an A-list, A film type budget, it didn't do well. And the piece de resistance of the supplements on Repeat Performance is a commentary by Nora Fiore. I've not heard her commentaries before. She has done a few others. This is just absolutely superb. She's well prepared, well organized. She's funny. She might talk a little bit fast, but she's got a lot to say. And it's the kind of commentary where you learn everything you need to know about the production history, everybody involved in the film. But she also pauses at times for us to savor a moment of dialogue or a particular shot where she becomes scene specific. And as I say, this was an A production for a brand new film studio. And you can tell it, especially when I watched it the second time. They had the gowns were by Ola Cassini, and the female characters, the gowns they wore, just absolutely fantastic in black and white. The cinematographer was L. William O'Connell. This was a name that wasn't familiar to me, and yet he was prolific as any cinematographer could be, and he went back to the 1930s. In fact, he photographed Howard Hawks' Scarface in 1930. The score by George Antheil fantastic score. I mean, this is not a B movie. And what's the premise? Well, it's a Twilight Zone type premise. The opening shot, we see Joan Leslie shooting her husband, and she runs the door. There's a loud knock at the door. She's in shock. She runs away, goes to, well, what am I going to do? Goes to one of her friends, Richard Basehart. What am I going to do? And then they go to visit another friend together, and as she's climbing the stairs, she says, oh, if only I could relive this. What a disastrous year. This is New Year's Eve, and what a disastrous year. If only I could relive it. And so it doesn't all end the way it's ended, you know, as we see in the first scene of the film. And then we get a voice comes out. Oh, you wanna see if you can change destiny? Do you? Okay. And this is, you know, the supernatural noir element here at John Ireland giving, as I learned in the supplements. So I was John Ireland's the voice of the spirit world, and so it's supernatural noir going along with Night of the Thousand Faces and Alias Nick Beale, both of which I have done videos on. And then she goes to visit, all of a sudden her friend, Richard Basehart, she's with, he's gone, and she goes into the room of her new friend, or another friend that she's seeking guidance from, and she discovers it's a year earlier. It takes her a while to be convinced of it. And so then the rest of the movie is, so she's back in January of the previous year, so now how can I change fate? What can I do so all these terrible things that happened in this year don't end the way that we just see in the first in the first scene? And it's very fast paced. You go from, you know, through time, and you feel destiny approaching and approaching. Very well done screenplay, and this is like I say, Richard Basehart makes his film debut in this movie, and a very spectacular debut it is. And he plays a character, a poet by the name of William Williams. Now, there's quite a bit in the commentary and in this booklet in which the movie is compared to the book it's based on. In the book, he was called William and Mary, and he was a cross-dresser. Well, of course, that would never play in 1947 Hollywood film, so they made him William Williams, which I thought was very odd because there is a poet, a real-life poet from New Jersey, where I live, called William Williams, but his name is William Carlos Williams. So I thought it was odd, but nobody, it was an odd choice of names, but nobody mentions it in any of the supplements. And then we get another, there's a number of really good subsidiary performances in this film. I was especially taken by, that's Virginia Field, and she plays the other woman, and the bone of contention between Joan Leslie and her husband, played by Lewis Hayward. She's just, this is, and you can see a little sense of some of the gowns that they have in this film. She's sensational in this movie, and very recognizable to me because she, as well as Joan Leslie, did a lot of TV guest appearances in the 50s, 60s. We also get Natalie Shaffer. I don't think there's a picture of her in the booklet. And of course, she was Mrs. Howell on Gilligan's Island, and she had 3 or 4 other, you know, fairly significant roles, and she's really good in this film. And before I go on to Joan Leslie, I failed to mention that there is reverse art, and this is both a Blu-ray and a DVD. But there is reverse art because lots of people I read online complaining, and film community is always full of complainers. They don't like this style, and this is a consistent style that Flickr Alley uses, but they do give you the reverse art, the original poster art, and I'm probably going to use that one because I really like this one, and it's also used on the cover of the booklet. It's full of all these terrific pictures that I'm showing you. But to get to Joan Leslie now, she was in vaudeville as a girl. She could sing, she could dance. She was signed by Warner Brothers. She made a lot of uncredited performances, bit performances. But if you got the Criterion High Sierra release of High Sierra last year, she played Velma, who was the young woman that Humphrey Bogart falls in love with, the club-footed teenager that he pays for the operation to repair, and she was only 16 then, and Bogart I think was 41. She also played Jimmy Cagney's wife in Yankee Doodle Dandy. She also played in another film. What was the name of it? Well, it might come to me, but she was only in repeat performance. She is only 21 in this film, and this is her first film away from Warner Brothers. Her contract went to the days when she was just a young girl, and she wanted out of Warner Brothers. They weren't giving her roles, and she signed it when she was a young girl, and she felt that she shouldn't be obligated to that contract as an adult, and she won her case and was released, but then she was not employable by the other big studios. But this new studio, because she was a name, this new studio employed her to, I think, a two movie contract. Sergeant York was the other film. She's Gary Cooper's love interest back in Tennessee in Sergeant York. So she was in some high-profile movies in her career with Warner Brothers. But then, as I say, they were petering out, and she eventually she does go to TV, and and then she really didn't make any movies much past the 1980s. But she was in a remake. And I can't remember now, what's my memory is so bad, something about Let's Redo Tomorrow or something, because this storyline, at least, was filmed many times, and there was a 1980s remake of this film, which I did not write the name down. I trusted it to my memory, which is really bad. But anyways, it was made in the 1980s, a TV movie, and Joan Leslie plays a supporting role in that film. So we get the Eagle Lion history in Al K. Rhodes' part of the supplements. A really interesting history of how film studios, they had money, they had backing. Some multimillionaire was backing them. But they weren't successful with these early films, and in 1947 the studio still controlled the movie theaters, so that they couldn't get like big openings, especially in New York City. So this film actually opened in a small town in Ohio, and why did they do that? That was Richard Basehart's hometown, and along with these great supplements, we also get the digital edition of the original 1947 press book. And really fascinating thing to scroll through online or on the supplements. But like I say, the movie was critically dismissed at the time. Audiences didn't go to see it. I think the major criticism was Louis Hayward's kind of over-the-top performance, and it is kind of rough at times, but in the end of the film, I thought he was absolutely great at the end of the film. He, and the music, and you really race towards this conclusion. Is it going to be the same as it was in the beginning of the movie? So overall, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. This is a terrific release by Flicker Alley and Film Noir Foundation, and I have done. Let's see, I did the Beast Must Die, along with repeat performances. That's Argentine noir, and I got Bitter Stems, which is the other Argentine noir that was another Flicker Alley Film Noir Foundation and UCLA Restoration. So again, highly recommended. They're a little bit pricey, but you know, for me at least, they give you some real value. Okay, thanks a lot for everybody who managed to listen. I do appreciate it. You guys take care.